The Fort Morgan Mustangs take on leading Roosevelt Rough Riders tonight. Good evening, everyone. Live from Fort Morgan High School, it's the Mike and Kristen Show. So anybody who's listened long enough knows our last names, and we're going to dispense with that formality tonight as the Fort Morgan Mustangs are on the court warming up right now and hopefully look to at least put up some type of a fight, maybe win one set tonight because, Roosevelt only has lost 3, and both of those losses, 2 of those losses come to the courtesy of the leading Windsor, and the other one in a back-and-forth affair with Sterling, which saw both teams take the other one. So Fort Morgan hoping, I guess, Kristen, tonight to try and at least get one set and maybe even a little bit of an upset. But I think if they could get one set, that'd be a victory, wouldn't it? Yeah, Rough Riders are a strong team. I mean, I'm sure you'll hear it all night. Erin Seeley, she's going to be a huge dominant for the Rough Riders. We talked about earlier, they run a 6-2. She sets as well as hits. She's a strong senior leader and a strong player at that. So how they deal with her will be interesting. The Mustangs have always kind of struggled with blocking up against those big hitters. That's where I think really hurt them against, Windsor and Sterling and some of those top-tier teams. So I'm hoping they can come out and really play well and not get dominated by her as much as they did last time when we were at Roosevelt. So hoping they can come out strong, kind of leave with some of that Mustang pride on their home court and end the season off well. Yeah, and really Roosevelt with a very balanced team as far as age goes, with 3 seniors, 3 juniors, 3 sophomores, and 1 freshman. So, and that's just the list that we have. I'm sure, as you can tell, they're out there serving right now. There are a lot more riders out there than what we have listed, so I'm sure a few from the JV will be moving up, as there are 4 JV players that are sophomores and 4 more that are freshmen. So the Riders, usually a good team in the league. I know last year them and Skyline went head-to-head for the league championship, and Skyline did get that. But then at the state playoffs, the Riders actually went a little further than Skyline did. Skyline kind of stubbed their toes against them in a match, and ended up Roosevelt took either 3rd or 2nd. Do you remember? I don't, but it's always interesting in postseason play. Once you can get out of those kind of constraints of what your league is and get to play some of those opponents outside of it, getting more on a conference and districts and things, you start to see kind of how the level of the other leagues are. They've always said, this being a strong league, so. Yeah, the Tri-Valley has always been a very, very strong league, and in the past, Fort Morgan is usually in the mix, but here the last 5 or 6 years, Fort Morgan kind of been on a drought, I guess we'd say, in the Northern Plains. Huh? Farmer term? Drought? Huh? You didn't think it was coming that quick, did you, tonight? Anyway, Fort Morgan is in a little bit of a drought, as they have not made the playoffs in the last, I believe, 6 years. So hopefully Fort Morgan will build for the future with a new coach, and actually some pretty big shoes to fill when these 6 seniors walk off the court tonight. They're going to have to dig deep into that JV lineup to fill all those spots, and especially at some of the skilled positions. We're going to really miss some of these seniors, and we're going to send it back to the station as we're just about getting ready for the national anthem, and we'll get on with the starting lineups, and hopefully what we plan will be a very good night tonight for the Mustangs. So you've been listening to Mustang Volleyball on B106 and B106.com. The Fort Morgan Mustangs will defend their home court tonight as they take on the Roosevelt Rough Riders. Good evening, everyone. I'm Mike Hosman. Along with me is Kristen Miller, and we will be bringing you hopefully exciting play-by-play tonight. And actually, I was rather disappointed in the national anthem. We had a group of young ladies from the high school that were actually going to sing it, but they must have had a concert tonight as they had to leave. And we got the old Victrola version of it, which was scratchy at best, but I guess it serves our purpose. But nevertheless, Kristen, why don't you give us the starting lineups? For your Mustangs tonight, the Fort Morgan Mustangs are coached by Tiffany Turner, Mallory Rudnick, and Danielle Lebsock. Number 1, senior Whitney Edwards. Number 2, senior Haley Lebsock. Number 7, senior setter Nicole Karras. Number 8, senior middle blocker Jalen Chappell. Number 9, senior KB Stroh. Number 11, right side Nicole Kaufman. And senior libero Jamie Cosman. For the Roosevelt Rough Riders, they are coached by Geneva Morford, Lindsay Stinson, and Shania Felty. Number 1, sophomore Kim Dillahay. Number 3, sophomore Whitney Shaver. Number 4, junior Kylie Plackey.
Number 6, junior Haley Plackey. Number 8, senior Aaron Seeley. Number 9, sophomore Brianna Hankins. And your libero, senior, number 18, Gabby Ramirez.
Well, and we're going to have the Planky sisters. Is that how you pronounced it? Okay.
Planky. We kind of just, we roll with it.
I'll just make it up here. But anyway, the Riders will serve. Back serving will be the libero, Delahaye. And she'll send that one over. And is it in? Yes, as Lebsock and Kaufman could not decide on who was going to take that, and that'll give the Riders a 1-0 lead. So
we've talked several times about the Mustangs kind of sitting back and waiting to see how the other team plays. I'm hoping they don't do that every game tonight.
I know it. They need to go out and play hard. Delahaye, Cosman, good pass up to Karras. She'll sit right in front of her to Stroh. And Stroh's hits the antenna, and we find ourselves trailing now 2-0. So Fort Morgan trying to keep from getting too far behind here. Delahaye sends this one over. This time Kaufman, not a good pass, run down by Karras. Lebsock out of the back row, and that'll be down and good for a kill as Haley Lebsock out of the back row gets a kill for the Mustangs. And now we're almost tied as we trail 1-2. Back serving will be Nicole Kaufman, number 11 for the Mustangs. This will go over to the Riders. This will be set outside to number 8, big Erin Steely, and she kills it easily over the block of the Mustangs, and we now trail 3-1. So front row will be Chappell, Stroh, and Karras. Back row is Kaufman, Cosman, and Lebsock. Number 9, Hankins sends this one over. Karras will back set to Chappell. Nice hit. It'll just have to be free balled over by the Riders. Cosman, good pass up to Karras. Good set outside to Stroh. Stroh does get this one over. Dribbles along the net, but it does go out of bounds right in front of the R1. And Fort Morgan now trails 4-1. So Mustangs not doing a great job of taking care of the ball here. Back serving will be Hankins. This will go over to Lebsock. Karras and Chappell collide, but Chappell will get it over. The Riders reset. This will go to Plackett. She hits it over and down as a little dribbling dink in front of the R1. Gets Fort Morgan again, and now we're behind 5-1. So
Mustangs really struggling on lack of communication there.
Yeah, and that's that new lineup probably. But anyway, Lebsock to Karras. Karras does a dump. The Riders do run it down, but this will be a back set to number 3, Sawyer, and it'll be down and good for a kill. And the Mustangs now trailing 6-1. So Fort Morgan has not been able to do much against that taller front line of the Riders.
Yeah, not getting a hand on that ball blocking wise, and really not picking it up defensively.
Hawkins sends this one over. Lebsock, good pass. Karras, nice back set.
Oh, she called Karras on that.
Holy cow.
I didn't see anything wrong with that. That's interesting.
I didn't. I even
I
called
hope this
it.
isn't something we see all night.
Well, and this is a new reffing crew that we've never seen before, but nevertheless, Cosman, this time to Karras. Stroh hits it over, has to be dug out by the Riders. This will go to the libero. Number 10, Ramirez, is sent over to the Mustangs. Kaylee Stroh will get it on the outside. She's blocked. Cosman, in a great diving dig, sends it over to the Riders. This will go outside to Erin Seeley, the big hitter, and over Karras and Chappell easily for a kill. And Seeley is hitting that ball at least 6 to 8 inches above the Fort Morgan block.
I'm just hoping they can keep her in single digits, to be honest, to be completely honest.
Well, and she is an all-state player from last year, so, she was a big force on their team. But nevertheless, Fort Morgan, Kaufman will get charged with the bad pass as that went right up to Seeley, and she blocked it down, and Fort Morgan now trails 9-1. So this is not looking good for the Mustangs. Back serving is still Hawkins. This goes to Kaufman. Karras will sit outside to Stroh. Stroh just free balls this one over, and this will go in a back set to Sawyer. Lebsock to Karras in the middle to Chappell. A little dribbler off the net will catch the Riders in a defensive position and give Fort Morgan the second point of the night. So Edwards comes in, Cosman goes out. Back will be Chappell serving for the Mustangs. So let's hope that the Mustangs can now get something going in the forward direction.
Another new thing we've seen is Edwards at middle.
Yeah. Chappell, not a great pass by the Riders. This will just have to be free balled over by Ramirez, the libero. Lebsock to Karras. Outside to Stroh again. This time Stroh's blocked. Karras and
Looks
Whitney,
like that's going to be on Whitney as she was trying to get the ball off the net. Just a lot of ugly play tonight. A lot of in, out, dinks, tips, not picking the ball up, not able to run a true pass set hit.
Yeah, no power out of the front row. Well, Ramirez and Libero will serve this one. Lebsock, good pass. Karras outside, nice pass. Edwards hits this one, but it hits it way out as it almost hits the Roosevelt fans. And for those of you who are not familiar, we are sitting in the south side of the gym. Mustangs are on our right. Roosevelt is in the front. The R1's across, and the scorer's table and the R2 are in front of us. Cosman to Karras. This will be Lebsock just free balling this one over. The Riders do reset. And this time a little miscommunication, but the libero comes in and gets it over. Fort Morgan will get this one back over as Stroh sent that one. Goes outside to the big hitter, Seeley. She is blocked, but it will go out of bounds off of Karras for a touch. And Fort Morgan now trails by 10.
We haven't seen a lot of timeouts or substitutions or anything to kind of stop this madness. Seeley's now on her 4th kill.
Ramirez, the libero, sends this one over. Oh, and it's off the net. And Nicole Kaufman was diving for that, and she got hit right in the head. So they thought, I think she thought it was going to hit the net and drop more, but it didn't. It just
she had kind of already dove, and so she was down. That's a rough one.
That is. So Ramirez sends this one again to Kaufman. Not a good pass. I have to be free balled by Edwards. Karras does the hitting. This will be run down by the Riders, just free balled over. Kaufman to Karras. Karras will do the hitting again. The Riders are ready. This will be a back set to Sawyer. Dug out by Lebsock. Karras will set Edwards in the middle. She's tipped. The block was tipped, but it did fall down on the Riders' side. And will give Fort Morgan their 3rd point. But the Mustangs are still trailing by 10. So
yeah, this should probably be the strongest front row now with Lebsock in the front row, Karras in the front row, hopefully for blocking at least in height.
Cabry Stroh will do the serving. Little blooper goes over to the Riders. This will be a back set or a piggy to Seeley.
Net violation as well on the Mustangs.
Net number 2, that'll be Lebsock. And so the Fort Morgan Mustangs on what was probably their best block against Seeley get the net violation, and she'll go back to serve for the Riders. So substitution as Garver comes in for Stroh. It'll be Garver, Cosman, and Kaufman in the back row. Aaron Seeley with a little jump serve goes to Garver. And not a good pass, but good enough that Edwards will get it over. Dug out by the Riders. Seeley will back set to Inning, and she hits it out of bounds. So there's a new twist where Aaron Seeley did a back set for the Riders. Is she going to be the setter for tonight?
Yeah, she ran a 6-2 last time when we played
them. Oh, that's right. You look at me like I didn't know that.
I know, I was shocked. I was like, wait, we discussed this last time.
And Nicole Karras sends that one long for the Mustangs. And that'll give the ball back to the Riders as we are trailing 4-15 in this first set here at Fort Morgan High School. Back serving is Sawyer. I think that was Kaufman, Cosman, and then just free balled over by Garver again. Seeley sets number 6. Plackett for a kill as nobody from the Mustangs was blocking, and we're at 16-4, Kristen.
We were discussing last time how much we liked the 6-2 and that the aspect they're one of the few teams that run it, but
when you
pretty much trying to highlight Seeley in every aspect.
Yeah, when you got a 6-2 setter, holy cow. And anyway, Isabel Garver goes down as that'll be a bad pass against her, and they are picking on her. And we're going to have a timeout by the Mustangs finally.
This timeout is brought to you by Northern Colorado Title. For all of your title needs, visit Tim Weimer at Northern Colorado Title at 205 West Kiowa in Fort Morgan. West Tech Rentals. Whether you're a contractor or homeowner, West Tech Rentals is your source for rental equipment and landscaping materials.
Well, the good news is I'm done with my first bottle of Gatorade, and I'm on to my second. So hopefully this will be a little quicker match here.
We're not really seeing a lot of enthusiasm from the Mustangs. We're not seeing them run, play offenses. Probably, I think they started with a pretty weak starting rotation. I know we're getting Cabry Stroh in some playtime, but for her to be the starting outside hitter with Lebsock, who's truly ran the team all year and led in kills, to start her in the back row was probably a mistake, and they dominated on it as the Rough Riders lead 17-4. I'm hoping to see some kind of enthusiasm and pride tonight so the Mustangs can go out on top in the fact of playing strong.
Yeah, I agree 100% that would not have been my starting lineup, but nevertheless, Sawyer will go back and do the serving for the Riders. That'll go over to Cosman. Great pass to Karras. Good set to Lebsock in the middle, and a touch, and Fort Morgan gets a point, and that has been the combination all year. Cosman,
that's what we're looking for.
Karras to Lebsock. That has been the most productive horse for the Fort Morgan Mustangs to ride.
And it works every time.
It does. Most of the time, Haley, like you said, and I have the stats, and we'll talk about that later on in the program, is our most productive hitter. Cosman, the libero, will go back and serve for the Mustangs. The little jump serve goes over, dug out by the libero. Seeley will do the setting outside to Hawkins, dug out by Lebsaw. Karras, Kaufman just free balls this one over. This time, number 9, Hawkins will get the hit, and it's over the Fort Morgan block and down for a point. So Fort Morgan now trailing 18-5. This is probably this is actually worse than the first time we played them, I think, at their gym.
Rough Riders have a strong offense with every player.
Yeah. Plackett sends this one over. Lebsaw to Karras, outside to Chappell. She'll just free ball this one over. Seeley will set Plackett again, dug out by the Mustangs. Lebsaw will set Kaufman. Kaufman's hit is dug out. Seeley will go outside to Hawkins. And in a diving attempt, Jamie Cosman could not get that right on the back line. And the Fort Morgan Mustangs now trail 19-5.
We have one Plackett sister in the front row and one in the back row serving. So if you hear Plackett, there's actually 2 of them.
So if I just say Plackett, 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 that'll probably work. Stroh's in and Garver is out. This will go to Cosman. Karras. Lebsaw out of the back row, dug out by the Riders. Seeley does a back set to number 5 inning, but Fort Morgan tried to block it off of Chappell but could not control it, and it does go for another point. So 20-5 in this first set, Fort Morgan trailing.
Mustangs have as many kills as Seeley does individually.
Plackett to Stroh, to Karras, to Chappell, and down and through the block, and Fort Morgan has a point. So there's a little life. Jalen Chappell also doing some nice contributing for the Mustangs this year.
Has really stepped up these last few games and led the Mustangs in kills.
Yeah, had an excellent game Tuesday night.
Garver back in for Stroh, so this should be an interesting change we continuously see tonight.
Okay, Lebsaw will go back and do the serving for the Mustangs. This will be over to the Riders. Seeley will set Plackett in the front row, and she tries a tip, but it does go out right by the scorer's table. And Fort Morgan has point number 7. So Riders will make a few mistakes if you let them. Lebsaw serve will go over. Another good serve. Seeley, this will go outside to the Plackett sister, and she hits it long. So I checked that. It was Hopkins hit that one. So Fort Morgan now at 8-20. Lebsaw again, good serve. Hawkins to Seeley, the libero out of the back row. This will be Lebsaw, Karras, Cosman out of the back row now. Seeley will just dump this one, and she gets called for a lift.
This up ref's picky. I didn't see anything wrong with that one either.
I didn't either. She was pointing the way she said it.
Definitely good momentum for the Mustangs. They're really letting them make the mistakes now with Haley, a really aggressive server for the Mustangs, taking charge.
Yeah, sometimes those refs will call it if you swing it across your body, but she had it right where she needed to. But Lebsaw sends this one over. Seeley will sit outside to Hawkins, dug out by Cosman and...
net violation. I think, was it Karras or Kaufman? Can't see who he called. Maybe it was Kaufman there.
I think it was Kaufman. He gave the one and the sign. So, anyway, number 11 was in the net. And
huge momentum shift there.
Fort Morgan down 21-9 now. Back serving will be Delahaye. Cosman to Karras. Chappell on a quick and almost got it over, but hits it in the net. But she was well in the air when that set come. That was a pretty play. It just didn't get over for the Mustangs. So, Delahaye, the sophomore, sends this one over to Lebsaw. Good pass. Karras, good set outside to Belle Garver. She dumps it. And the libero, Ramirez, cannot handle that. And Fort Morgan has their 10th point of the night. So maybe the Mustangs are
waking
just
up a little late.
Yeah. Yeah, Fort Morgan a little. But maybe in the second and third set we'll have a little better play. Kaufman will go back to serve for the Mustangs. And this one goes over. Seeley. This will be Plackett. She'll set back to Seeley, and holy mackerel, did she get that one down as Karras and Chappell were up there, but she just went clearing over the top of them.
Yeah, no one's touching her. That's her 6th kill of the night.
Well, and she's probably 6 foot, would you say?
Yeah, close to it. She's got a good vertical as well.
Karras will sit outside to Garver. Garver, nice hit by Belle Garver as Hawkins got the facial on that one almost. She stuck her hand up to block it, but it went right down. Cosman comes out. Whitney Edwards will come in, and that means Jalen Chappell will do the serving for the Mustangs. Chappell's ball is over. Passed up to Seeley. She'll do a jump set. Little back set to Plackett. Fort Morgan counters with Karras, but Karras hits it into the net. And Fort Morgan now is at set point as they trail 24-11. The libero for the Riders Ramirez will go back and serve this one. This will go to Cosman, to Karras. This will be Garver in the middle. She's blocked, but the ref says it didn't go over, so that'll give the final point of the match to the Riders as they win 25-11. And we'll send it back to the station for a quick break, and we'll come back with set number 2. You've been listening to Mustang Volleyball on B106 and B106.com. The Fort Morgan Mustangs fall in the first set tonight of homecoming 11-25 to the Roosevelt Rough Riders. Good evening, everyone. I'm Mike Cosman. Along with me is Kristen Miller, and we have been bringing you the play-by-play, although it has not been too exciting, as the Mustangs again are trying a new lineup tonight in their final appearance of the volleyball season. But nevertheless, Kristen, it is what it is.
Yeah, one thing we noticed was they obviously kind of came out really, I don't know if you'd say dull or low energy. Mustangs didn't really come alive till the 10th or 11th point, and by then it was too late. So hoping to see maybe a different starting lineup. We talked about some different options, obviously, with Haley Lebsock and Jalen Chappell really leading the team offensively right now. Hoping to see them starting in the front row. It's so crucial to get really those first 5 points and that momentum to try to take with you. So if the Mustangs consistently start in a hole, it's hard to come out of, and especially that kind of a deficit.
What I think is going on here, and for whatever it's worth, the reason we're getting into that hole is because the lineup's new, and it's taken about 10 points for everybody kind of to get used to who you're playing beside or who's playing behind you or who's, that just takes that little while to there's no consistency in that, in that starting deal. Now let's see if the Mustangs are coming onto the court now, as there's 26 seconds left in the break. And now Garver is starting with Karras and Chappell in the front row. Cosman, Lebsock, and Kaufman will be the back row. So now, we've got another new...
And the Rough Riders isn't a team you can do this against. They're a tall, aggressive team.
Even though it's not a new lineup, it's a little bit different, and Fort Morgan just struggles with that. And Kaufman will send that one over. Seeley will set it up, and she'll get the ball back on the outside. And it is blocked this time as Karras, as you hear the crowd go wild, with a great block against Aaron Seeley. And so Fort Morgan leads 1-0. So little enthusiasm there. That was a little lower hit than she normally does, but nevertheless, hats off to Nicole for getting that. Kaufman will serve. This time Seeley again. Platchett. And this time the big number 4. Platchett will sit that one over. Cosman. Garver will hit it outside, but she does hit it long off the set of Karras. And now we're tied at 1. So Isabel Garver really unemotional tonight. She's kind of, I don't know if she's just not used to or not sure what's going on, but the Riders will send this one over with Platchett serving. Karras will set outside to Garver. And Garver hits it again long, and that's her second one in a row. So
we've never seen her hit outside. We've seen her hit middle all year, and now we're seeing her hit outside. So, Again, new changes and new things. But Karras and Cosman doing a great job. It's just these hitters tonight that are really struggling.
It's good pass. Cosman, good set. Karras, and then, out of bounds. So, anyway, here we go. Kaufman. Good pass. Karras does a dump, dug out by the libero. This time number 11, Delahaye will do the hitting. Chappell, she's blocked at the net. She'll send it back over again. The Riders reset. This will go outside to the big number 8, Seeley, off the block of Karras. Lebsock, Karras, Chappell in the middle. Chappell does a dink, dug out easily by the Riders. Platchett will set number 3, Sawyer, dug out by Karras. Cosman will do the setting. Karras will do the hitting. And we're back resetting again. This will go outside to the big hitter, Seeley. She hits it off the net, but nobody touched it. And nobody was even blocking. And Fort Morgan now will reset. They'll go back out to Seeley again. This time she does hit it down and out.
I think that was a foot in.
It was a foot in.
But we'll take it. That ball's moving faster than that line judge is ready for.
We're going to let the fans make the call. In or out, guys? The guys are saying in. We've got 4 or 5 guys standing here beside us, and the line judge clearly missed that one, but it was in Fort Morgan's favor, so Chappell will go back to serve. Chappell sends this one over. Seeley will do the setting. This will go outside for Sawyer, dug out by Edwards, but cannot be run down by Karras as it was right on top of the scorer's table. And Fort Morgan now trailing 2-3, but much better play.
Yeah, they're definitely staying with them now. We're not seeing that kind of ghostly face waiting till point 10 to kind of turn it on.
The libero Ramirez will do the serving for the Mustangs, and the Riders are out of rotation. This will give Fort Morgan the tie at 3. Fort Morgan is on our left this time. They'll be serving to our right. which is where the Rough Riders will be. The crowd is across the way, except for the 3 men over here who are heckling us, but nevertheless, Garver will do the serving for the Mustangs. And this will go to Seeley. Delahaye will do the setting. This will be back to Seeley, and she hits it out.
I thought there was a touch on that one off of Garver.
Well, she wanted it, but neither one of the line judges was willing to give it to her, and Fort Morgan takes the first lead of the night, 4-3. Garver doing the serving now. This will go over. And is it in or out? Oh, right at the feet of Hawkins and right in front of the line judge, Ron the line, and now Hawkins will get to come out as number 2, Potterberg, comes in for the Riders. So Garver now in her 3rd serve of the night with Fort Morgan leading 5-3. And again, she goes to Potterberg, the new player coming in. This will go outside to number 3, Sawyer. The Riders just dump. Lebsock digs it out. This will go over. Cosman has to run it down by the R1 and send it over. They do reset. This time Seeley on the outside, off the net and down for a Rough Riders point. And now Cabry Stroh is up, and she's coming in for Belle Garver in the back row, which is something new. So the back row will be
Cosman, Stroh.
Stroh. And the front row is Karras, Edwards, and Lebsock. Aaron Seeley, the big hitter, will do the serving off the net. And Cabry Stroh could not handle that pass as it goes up to the net and hits the antenna off the jump serve of Seeley. And now we're tied at 5. So Fort Morgan struggling here. Seeley again will send this one over. This time she does go to the libero Cosman. Good pass. Karras, great set. And Lebsock, good hit, but it is dug out. Seeley will send this one clear outside as Lebsock tried to get the dig of Sawyer and could not get it, and Fort Morgan now trails 5-6. But much better play there by the Mustangs. Now Belle Garver back up, but I guess she's just running to get her thing of water. I thought she was going to go up and tell the scorer's table she wanted to end. Aaron Seeley will do the serving. This time to Stroh. Bad pass. She gets called for a lift. Holy cow. You don't see that very often on hard-driven serves. That was a jump serve from Aaron Seeley, and usually the R1s will just about let anything go. Here comes the serve from Seeley again. This time it's a little softer one. Stroh sets that one over, but the Riders send it right back. Karras will set. Cosman will just free ball that one over. A little communication problem there. And the Riders, number 6, get a kill placket as Nicole Kaufman could not handle that hit. It really wasn't that hard.
No, Rough Riders run such a fast offense that all she had to do was get a fingertip on it, and she's faster than the blockers, and Mustangs are still in transition, so it works for them.
Here comes the serve of Seeley. Cabry Stroh again cannot pass that ball, and that will go as an ace.
That's Seeley's 3rd ace for the night.
And she is picking on Cabry here.
I don't think she'll quit unless there's a substitution or side out here.
Once you find that weak player of the night, you go right to it. Lebsock, and for some reason Lebsock could not handle that pass.
They pulled Cosman over at that last second in front of Stroh, so Lebsock had to drop back and pass.
And the Fort Morgan Mustangs take a quick timeout here, and we'll help a couple of our sponsors out.
This timeout's brought to you by Bijou T-Quest. Stop by 302 Main Street in Fort Morgan. Letter jackets, T-shirts, banners, and more. They're also your local experts customizing your team sports apparel. Bijou T-Quest. Insurance Connection. Whether it's health, life, or dental insurance, or Medicare supplements, see Sharon Kaufman at Insurance Connection.
But you were right, Kristen. Cosman was coming. The coach had yelled at Cosman to come over and help Cabry. Well, Seeley alertly saw Cosman moving to that side and sent it over to the other side between the gap that was left by Lebsock, and Haley Lebsock could just not quite get to that one. So heads up play by the All-State player Seeley. She is the all-around player for them right now, and Fort Morgan still in the huddle here. They do finally break. The back row will be Kaufman, Cosman, and Stroh, Lebsock, Edwards, and Karras in the front. Seeley gets the whistle. And here comes the jump serve. This goes to Stroh again, but it is out of bounds as she was trying to aim that one toward Cabry Stroh, but just a little bit long. And the Mustangs have point.
Brianna Frick's going to check in the front row there for Nicole Kaufman as her first entrance of this match.
Yes, that's something new. She didn't play the first set. Karras will send this one over, and it'll be long, but the Riders do take it. This will just be free-balled over by them, and it's hit out of bounds as Plackey tried to do a it wasn't a back row attack, but it was a side row attack, let's say.
If you're just joining us, Mustangs fell in the first one 11-25 and are now only trailing by 3, 7-10 in this second game against Roosevelt.
And had led by 3 at one time, too. But Karras sends this one over. Seeley will set Plackey. Quick dump is picked up by Karras. Cosman will just hit it out of the back row. A dribbler off the net. And Fort Morgan now tries to block that. And Edwards and Frick cannot get that one off the net as it did come down their arms and into the net. So the Riders now have point 11. Back serving will be Sawyer. This will go to Cosman, to Karras, outside to Frick. Frick is down and through the block for a Mustang point, so Brianna Frick gets her first kill of the night. As the Mustangs are playing much better here finally. Like I said, I think they're getting a little bit used to the rotation. Cosman and Libero, the senior, will go back. The R1 will whistle her to serve. And here comes the little jump serve out of the senior. This will go to Seeley. This is a quick hit by her. Dug over. Free balled over by the Mustangs. Seeley again will reset. Tries a dump. Chappell, Karras, Cosman just sends it over. Seeley tries again. This will be a back row attack by Plackey. This time Karras. Frick will do the setting for Chappell out of the middle. Dug out easily by the Riders. Seeley sets a back set to Plackey. Cabry Stroh digs this one. It's going to go out to Lebsock. Lebsock does a roll shot, but it's still dug out easily by the Riders. And this time Heckens does it. Cosman and Karras, who slipped a little bit trying to get to the net, could not get there as she was back deep into her defensive position. And when she went up to the front, I don't know what happened, but her foot got stuck or something. But the Riders now have point 12. Here comes a serve. This goes to Stroh. Good pass this time to Karras. Karras does a quick in the middle to Frick. And this will be dug out, but we do have a net as number 4. Is that what he says? That'll be Kylie Plackey. The junior will get called for the net violation of the Riders, and Fort Morgan now trails 9-12. Haley Lebsock, the senior, back serving for the Mustangs. And Cabry Stroh comes out, and Belle Garver comes in. So the front row is now Garver, Chappell, and Frick. Lebsock's serve is over. Quick dink by Plackey for the Riders. Catches the Fort Morgan Mustangs a little uncoordinated there, but Fort Morgan now trailing 9-13. Back serving will be the sophomore Kim Delahaye for the Riders. Back row will be Cosman, Lebsock, and Frick, I believe. And this will go to Lebsock. Good pass. Karras sets Chappell in the middle. Dug out by the Riders. This will go back to Seeley. Seeley sends this one over. Dug out by Cosman as she was waiting. Karras will set Frick. Frick sends this one over and deep. And is it in? Yes! The Fort Morgan Mustangs get a great hit by Brianna Frick. And now she's wanting to sub out. Nicole Kaufman is going to come in. Now what do we got going on? They called a sub, ladies. You've got to do it.
Looks like Brianna called her own sub there, but Coach Turner was wanting her to stay in.
Yeah. But Nicole Kaufman does come in, and once you call that to the R2, you do have to do it. So Kaufman now will serve as Frick comes out. Serve is over to Seeley. This will be set by Delahaye. Back to Seeley. She does a tip off the block of Karras. Cosman will just free ball this one. They do block it. Great dig by the libero. And now Lebsock to Karras. Cosman gets this one over again. Mustangs are fighting here. This will go back in the front to Plackett, and a great block by Chappell and Karras, I believe. Did Garver get some of that?
It was Chappell and Garver.
Chappell and Garver, as all three of the Mustangs
the best
were
play
there.
We've seen tonight from the Mustangs. It's getting their hands up on those blocks, really playing a good match now.
Kaufman sends this one over to Seeley. This was way over by the student section. Just be free balled over by Plackett. Lebsock, Karras, back set to Chappell. Chappell off the block again, and this will go not quite down as Seeley will get this one over. They reset. Karras will set this one way outside to Belle Garver. Belle Garver in a great hit for the Mustangs off the libero.
Ramirez.
Yes. And Fort Morgan now is within one as they trail 12-13 in this second set. So the Mustangs playing much better here. Kaufman, little short one. Delahaye outside to Seeley. Seeley hits the net, and it does not go over, and the Mustangs have now tied it at 13. So, wow, what a change from the first set that we saw. Now the Mustangs looking like they might win a set here. Kaufman, Seeley, Delahaye just have to be free-balled over by Ramirez, but they cannot get it over. And Fort Morgan now has the lead for the second time, and head coach Genevieve Munford wants a timeout.
This timeout is brought to you by Equitable Saving and Loan, Northeast Colorado's hometown savings and loan, in Fort Morgan and Brush.
So the Mustangs doing a much better job as they have led twice now in this second set. Although this is not their largest lead, they did lead by 3 at one time early on, but they are still leading 14-13.
I think Roosevelt came out a little cocky tonight, maybe thinking, let's get this last game out of the way. Let's get on to kind of thinking ahead with postseason and district play, and kind of overassumed the Mustangs came out strong the first game. And now the second game, as we've seen some new changes again with lineups, it's really starting to work for the Mustangs. I think we have the strongest players now on the court, probably in different positions than we've seen all year, but we definitely have the strongest players out there. Starting to see kind of some new glimpses of hope with better touches on the blocks, more aggressive serving, some key areas that help them to take this lead.
Yeah, Fort Morgan finally maybe getting used to this rotation again, and Karras will go back to serve as the Riders have used one timeout. This will go to Seeley. Delahaye, she's going to backset Seeley. Seeley dumps it, and Cosman was up for the hit, and Lebsaw could not swing over quick enough to get that on the far side, and it's tied at 14 now. Hawkins will go back, a sophomore for the Riders. Back row will be Cosman, Lebsaw, and Kaufman. This will go to Kaufman. Has to be run down by Karras. Outside to Belle Garver. Belle Garver wasn't sure she was going to get that. Delahaye will set way outside to Seeley, and Seeley hits the net.
Violation there.
Yes. Aaron Seeley in 2 rare mistakes tonight now for the All-State senior. Cosman comes out, and Whitney Edwards goes in. So Edwards, Karras, and Garver now in the front row. And Jalen Chappell will do the serving, and she serves it into the net. Chappell comes out now. Cosman goes in. And the other libero, Gabby Ramirez, a senior too, will do the serving. And this will go to Cosman, to Karras. Garver in the middle, quick little dump. Little dump back over by the Riders. This is outside to Garver. She's blocked, dug out by Cosman, sent over by Karras. Roosevelt resets, and what happened here now?
Back row attack on Karras. It looks like she's...
I think
R2's calling a replay. R1's...
I think that's wrong.
The R1's overruling the R2 there. I don't know what this R1... She's interesting. I don't know what that call was there.
I don't think Karras was above the net anyway.
Wow.
Anyway, Fort Morgan now trails by 1. Karras will sit outside to Edwards. Edwards is blocked, dug out by Cosman. Karras, Garver in the middle. She's blocked, but it does land over on the Riders' side, and Fort Morgan now ties it at 16. So, yeah, I wasn't sure what that R1 was doing, but she was adamant when the R2 said, no, that wasn't a back row attack. But nevertheless, the referees always manage to play in every match to something. Garver will do the serving. This will be over deep. Ramirez will have to run this down. This will be free-balled over by Seeley. Garver. Karras, this will go outside to Lebsaw. Haley Lebsaw's hit is dug out, but Delahaye will set Seeley, dug out by the Mustangs. Jamie Cosman will just send this one over. Ramirez, Delahaye, and Seeley, and she's blocked by Karras. They'll dig it out, but it'll drop over. Oh, Cosman comes up clear in front of all the front row players and gets that. And then Edwards, with a little dribbler hit, gets Fort Morgan the point, but the whole front row was backing up all the hitters, and Cosman had to come in front of them to get that dink. But Garver will get the point, and she is serving now as Fort Morgan leads. This goes to Delahaye. Big number 6. Flecky hits this one. Now Seeley will send this one over as it was blocked. Karras will do the hitting. Dug out by the libero. Oh, did we get it? Oh, Belle Garver in a stretched, outreached hand thought she had the dig, but the R1 said it was down, and now we're tied at 17. But nevertheless, Fort Morgan, Kristen, is playing well. Playing like a team with some heart finally. And Seeley will go back to do the serving. Cavery Stroh comes in. And this will go to Stroh. Oh, not a good pass by Cavery.
I thought that was an interesting substitution. Seeley back to serve, Stroh in to serve. We saw this error last time.
That's right. Stroh had a little trouble with those, and Seeley got about 4 points off the senior. And I'm actually surprised the coach did that.
Mm-hmm.
Seeley again will send this one to Stroh. This time much better pass. Whitney Edwards hits this one long off the set of Karras.
Man, how that 2-point momentum is going to shift. It's that race to 20. They were tied at 17, and with Seeley in the back row dominating right now is crucial, but now they lead 19-17.
This goes to Cosman. Good pass to Karras. It'll be set outside to Lebsock. Lebsock hits it over in a little dribbler, but dug out by the Riders. Free balled over. Stroh. Karras. Back set to Edwards, and Edwards sends this one against the mat of the Mustangs, and that will give us that magical 20, and Fort Morgan wants a timeout now.
This timeout is brought to you by High Plains Bank in Wiggins. No matter what your loan needs, stop by High Plains Bank at 502 Central Avenue in Wiggins today. Also inquire about checking and savings accounts as well as CDs at High Plains Bank in Wiggins.
Well, at one point the Mustangs were leading, and then Roosevelt got the serve back to Aaron Seeley, who has probably been their best server of the night, and due to the substitution of the coaching staff, we find ourselves trailing 17-20. And I'm like you, I don't think I would have probably done that because we saw that about point 14 and 15, and Aaron Seeley, very good server, has a hard jump serve, and I think I would have maybe stayed with one of the other
and Garver
players.
had so much momentum.
Yeah.
She had 4 kills. She's leading right now the Mustang offense. So going back into that back row position, we've just seen a huge momentum shift now over back to the Rough Riders.
Back row is Kaufman, Cosman, and Stroh. Front row is Lebsock, Edwards, and Karras. Seeley sends this one over. This time, Stroh again. Can they get to it? It'll just have to be free balled over by Jamie Cosman, and the back row hit. Nice hit by her. Plackey, Cosman, great dig. This will go to Karras. If Edwards will get out of the way. And a little dink into the far corner over Kaufman and Stroh's head as Fort Morgan was trying to set a quick one there to Haley Lebsock on the outside, but Edwards and Karras collided, and now
a lot of confusion there with Edwards used to play in the outside, a much slower position being moved to the middle
ball.
now.
Seeley serves Cosman again. This will go outside of Lebsock. Lebsock's hit is down and good. Yes! Fort Morgan with that Cosman Karras Lebsock combination gets the point and the ball back. Kaufman will come out. Frick will go in. Karras will come back to do the setting for the serving and the setting for the Mustangs. So interesting night tonight here. Fort Morgan still trailing by 3, 18-21. The R1 finally whistles for Karras. This will go over deep. Seeley does the setting now outside to Plackett. Dug out by Lebsock. Stroh. Oh! And Whitney Edwards, I don't know what she was trying to do there, but threw the ball with her back to the net just completely over herself and over her back and down onto the ball. So Fort Morgan now trailing 22. Stroh, not a good pass, has to be run down. Cosman out of the back row. Hits this one, dug out by the Riders. Seeley will set Plackey into front. That'll be through the block of Lebsock and Edwards for point 23. So Fort Morgan making some mistakes here. This will come over to the Mustangs. And again, Cosman, good pass. Karras, great set out to Frick. Frick's hit is deep, dug out by Seeley. Tipped over, Cosman in a diving attempt gets it. Karras, and Karras is called for 2 as she was reaching.
That's so
over.
Interesting with Seeley being in the back row, and she dumps it, and she doesn't call her, but then she's going to call Karras. Such a picky call there.
And this is game point, and this will go to Stroh. Good pass to Karras. Karras to Lebsock in the middle. Lebsock's hit is deep. This will be right back over to the Mustangs. Edwards will do the setting for Karras out of the back row. She sends it deep. Seeley gets it. Comes right back up to Plackey. And Cavery Stroh cannot run down that pass in the back row as she one-hand tried to get that. And Fort Morgan does lose the second set. 18-25. We'll send it back to the station, and we'll come back with the third set. You've been listening to Mustang Volleyball on B106 and B106.com. The Fort Morgan Mustangs do fall in that second set, 18-25 to the Roosevelt Rough Riders. I'm Mike Cosman. Along with me is Kristen Miller, and we have been bringing you the play-by-play tonight of what has been a very interesting night, Kristen.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of different things tonight with different play. I mean, first of all, Isabel Garver, freshman, is leading the offense right now with 4 kills. We're used to seeing, Chappell and Lebsock. They're only at 2 or 3 right now. We've seen aggressive serving from the Rough Riders, a fast offense, much faster than the Mustangs are used to. We've seen spouts of life. They really had a lot of momentum there, but then the Roosevelt serving really shut them down. So should be interesting in this third set.
Well, and Fort Morgan not getting the right personnel in front of at the right times, in my opinion.
Right.
I mean, when they do have those right people in there, things go pretty good, but then, we'll do a substitution of something we haven't seen before, and then we have some problems. So,
and we've seen a lot of confusion. Players not used to playing positions. Whitney Edwards has played outside hitter all year long, and only this week have we seen her step into a middle position. So we've seen little errors with net violations and players not transitioning in time. So just little mistakes that add up to really not allowing them to take a game away from these Rough Riders.
Well, yeah, and Roosevelt has done nothing different. They've run the same group of girls in. Their substitutions are consistent, and that's the hallmark of a very, very well coached team. So nevertheless, though, we're in the third set of the night, as Fort Morgan, as we said, did lose the first two, and the ladies at the score table are a little buzzer happy here. they've been buzzing here, but Fort Morgan will be receiving as they are now on our right, which is away from us. The Riders are right in front of us. This will go over to Lebsock. Karras outside to Garver. She does a tip over Seeley. This will be dug out by the Riders, be free balled over. And Lebsock, Karras, and Chappell into front. Nice hit by Jalen Chappell, as number 11, Delahaye, could not handle that, and Fort Morgan has a 1-0 lead. And if you remember, in that second set, they led at the very beginning. So
definitely coming out stronger at the beginning of games, which we haven't seen all year.
Back serving for the Mustangs will be number 7, senior Nicole Karras, and she'll send this one deep. Seeley, not a great pass. Have to be free balled back up to her, and then with running backwards, she does get the ball over. Karras sets Garver. Garver just sends this one long and deep. The Riders again will have to free ball this one over. Karras will set, Frick will set, and Chappell will do the dinking. This time Seeley digs this one. They'll set her right back as she gets up off the floor. Cosman dinks it over, but Seeley gets the block at the net, and Fort Morgan now is tied.
Seeley's 11th kill of the night. I was hoping to keep her in single digits.
Well, you see what respect they have for her, where she divingly dug the ball.
She's still on the ground, and they're already setting her.
And they're setting it right back to her, and she gets up and hits it. This will go to Frick. Good pass. Karras right back to Frick. Goes to Seeley. Delahaye will set this one outside to Seeley. Seeley down and through the block of Frick and Chappell for a Fort Morgan, or for a Rider point, as we now trail 1-2. Back serving for Roosevelt is Hawkins. Fort Morgan awaits. The student section is standing and cheering. This will go to Lebsock. Good pass to Karras. Nice set to Chappell in the back. Dug out by the Riders. Cosman to Karras. Outside to Garver. Dug out. But can they get it up? No, as the ball hit the net. And the number 4, the setter Planky, could not get that one. And Fort Morgan now ties it at 2. Edwards comes in. Cosman goes out. And that means Chappell will do the serving. So Fort Morgan has it tied in this third set at 2. Chappell sends this one over. Delahaye. Seeley does a quick dump, and nobody was there as the libero Cosman was outside, and that's usually who gets those quick dumps. But nobody was there for the Mustangs, and she does come back in, and Chappell goes out. Ramirez, the Riders libero, does the serving, and Garver sends this one into the cheap seats. So Fort Morgan now trailing 4-2 off the errant pass of Isabel Garver. Ramirez again. This time it goes to Lebsock, to Karras, back set to Garver. Garver just dumps this one over. This will go outside to Seeley again. And a quick little dump from Seeley over the block of Edwards and Frick. And Nicole Karras could not get to that one. And now we are trailing 5-2 in this third set. So
really struggling with passing right now, trying to get an offense going.
Edwards to Karras, back set to Frick. Off the block, Seeley. Delahaye back to Seeley. Another dump. And Isabel Garver couldn't get this one as she just dumped that right in front of the R2 right below us here. And Fort Morgan now trails 6-2. Gabby Ramirez will do the serving. This will go to Cosman. Good pass to Karras. Good set to Frick, just dumped over. This time number 6, Plackey gets it. Lebsock. Karras does the setting, but I knew she was going to call her for that one.
Yeah, that pass was so far in the net. Karras was trying everything she could just to get it out of there and make it a playable ball.
Lebsock having a little trouble with that pass.
Great effort on Karras, but
Ramirez again will send this one over. No timeout from the Fort Morgan coaching staff. This will go in the back row for Cosman, and she just hits it over. This time it'll be a back set to number 3, Sawyer, dug out by the Mustangs. Back to Garver, dug out by the Riders. Cosman, Karras, outside to Garver. Garver just dumps it, but the Riders are there easily. Seeley will get it on the outside. Garver, Karras just dumps it back over. Ramirez. This will go to number 6, Plackey.
Net violation
and
there.
she gets called for the net, as she is the shorter of the Plackey sisters. So she does get the net violation.
We'll take what we can get.
That's right. And Fort Morgan now has point number 3. Garver will go back and do the serving. Frick, Edwards, and Lepsock in the front row. This will be deep to Ramirez. Not a great pass. Just have to be free-balled over by Seeley, the Riders. Edwards, Karras, outside to Lepsock. Lepsock through the block, but they do get it, but they cannot get it as it come out of the net, as number 9, Hawkins, tried to pass that good hit of Haley Lepsock, and Fort Morgan now has point 4. Garver back serving. The R1 does give us the signal. Garver walks it up and serves it. This will go to Ramirez. Plackey. Seeley does a dump, and Cosman coming in clear. It actually slides into the back feet of the blockers trying to get that little dump.
Seeley's 16th kill, really just a smart hitter. She can be a powerful hitter, but she's just being very smart right now, dominating the Mustangs.
Her last 4 hits have just been nice, well-placed dinks, and Seeley will do the serving. This will go to Frick, and this one will go into the cheat sheet.
Great hustle by Karras, head first into the bleachers.
Frick gets this one over. Seeley will do the setting for Plackey in the middle. And as she tips it over toward the student section by Karras, nobody from the Mustang side can get to that. And Fort Morgan now losing 4-9, and still no timeout from the Fort Morgan coaching bench. Seeley will send this one to Cosman, to Karras.
No, that's what we've talked about, that confusion. Edwards and Lepsock, who are both outside hitters, who we see stuck in transition. They're jumping together, hitting that ball in the net. Such a crucial point.
Great set by Nicole Karras, but Fort Morgan does finally take a timeout at point 10, and we'll thank some people.
This timeout's brought to you by B&B Appliance at 502 Ensign in downtown Fort Morgan, the place to shop for all of your appliance needs. B&B Appliance, a member of the Brand Source Retail Program. Cargill Meat Solutions. Cargill takes as much pride in the community, just as they do in the products they provide to their consumers. Part of KSIR B106 scholarship program.
So in this third set, the Mustangs are trailing 4-10 against the league-leading Roosevelt Rough Riders. And as Kristen and I have both said tonight, a night that has seen some things work, and then a night that has seen probably more things not work.
Yeah, a lot of these kinks should have been worked out earlier in the year. We've seen more changes probably in the last 2 weeks than we have seen all year, with different player positions and different substitutions. So it's kind of like you said on Tuesday, are we trying to look to the future? Are we finishing up this year? We're not really sure. We can only say what we think, but it's been an interesting one. Yes, it has. And Fort Morgan coming out of their first time out of this match. We'll see Aaron Seeley do the serving for the Riders. This will go to Stroh. Bad pass. This will have to be run down. Stroh again will hit this one out of the back row. Seeley will get the set back to her. This will go to Cosman, to Karras. Outside to Lepsock. Lepsock does a little roll shot, dug out by the Rough Riders. Outside to Pocket. This time Lepsock. She's blocked, dug out by Cosman. Karras will back set Frick right in front of the R1. A little roll off the net. And in a rare mistake, the Rough Riders all huddle at the back of the court and let the ball drop between them. So that's very, very unusual for them. But Fort Morgan now has halved the lead at 5-10. Frick will do the serving, and Frick serves it right into the net. Something that has plagued the Mustangs this year. Crucial serving errors. You're at this point in this game, this final game of the match, where you can kind of take the momentum or you can't. You got to have those little errors right now. Yeah. Oh, and luckily, the Riders, number 3, Sawyer, a sophomore, served that one into the net. So I guess we can't be too hard on our girls as they do it too. But Cosman will go back to serve now for the Mustangs as the Fort Morgan Mustangs still trail 6-11. The R1 signals. Here comes the jump serve from Cosman, and she serves it into the net. Oh, unbelievable here for both teams. It's like, come on, ladies. Let's, that pink ball. I guess we have problems with that pink ball. We're still playing with the pink and white ball. This will be Plackey to Stroh. Karras will have to run this one down. Lepsock in the front row, flat-footed, will send this one deep. Seeley will just dump this one over. Karras sends it right back. Now he's set. Karras will go outside to Lepsock, and she hits it deep and good for another kill, as Sawyer could not run down that good hit of Lepsock. And Fort Morgan now trailing 7-12.
have a quick substitution as number 2, Potberg, comes back in, and we saw her earlier, but not too much. But
she's that JV setter as Garver checks in for Stroh.
Lepsock will be back serving as Cosman and Frick are in the back row now. And Lepsock hits it into the net. That is the third serve for the Mustangs in a row that has went into the net. So Fort Morgan definitely not concentrating here and trailing. But back serving will be Delahaye, the sophomore, for the Rough Riders. Here comes the serve. This will go to Lepsock, Karras, and Karras oversets. But Aaron Seeley reaches up and takes the ball away from Jalen Chappell, and that'll be a not a back row attack, but what do they call that?
Basically over the net.
Yeah, reach it over the net. So Karras will serve again. This time it's in. Seeley, Delahaye, back to Seeley, off on the corner. Cosman tries to get that, but in a rolling attempt cannot get that good hard hit as that was over the block of the Mustangs by about a foot.
If you're just joining us, first game Mustangs fell 11-25, then 18-25, and now in the third set are trailing 14-8.
And serving will be Hawkins, a sophomore for the Rough Riders. This will go to Lepsock. Good pass. Karras outside to Frick. Frick gets it over. Delahaye, this will be Seeley. Short set, she'll just have to dink it over. Now Karras, Frick, dug out by the Riders. This will go to Seeley again. She just does a dump. Karras, Garver. Chappell did get it over, but she slid under the net in a twisting attempt to get that, and it will give the Riders the point and the ball back as they lead 15-8 over the Fort Morgan Mustangs. So
that's Seeley's 18th kill of the night.
Yeah, she's on fire. Anyway, Hawkins will do the serving. This will go to Lepsock, to Karras, Garver, and she hits it long. No touch. The Fort Morgan Mustangs were wanting one, but no luck there. Karras even goes over and talks to the R1. Tries to plead her case, but the R1 says go back. And the Riders will serve, and this will be Hawkins serving again. This will go off the net in a dribbler, and it does go out of bounds, luckily, right in front of the R2. I thought that was going to hit the net and come in, but
got lucky there.
Yep. Edwards comes in, Cosman goes out, and that means Chappell will serve. So the Mustangs on our right, serving to our left. Chappell, this will go to Ramirez. And Hackett is blocked by the Mustangs. It took a little while for that play to develop off the set of Aaron Seeley, and Fort Morgan gets their 10th point as they trail 10-16 in this third set. So Jalen Chappell back serving for the Mustangs. R1 does give us the signal. And here comes her serve. This will go up to Seeley. Seeley does a dump. And again, Seeley gets away with that because Cosman, the libero, is not in. And that is usually her position. And now she does come in. But Seeley has done that every time. A smart player, Kristen.
Very smart.
To know that the libero is out and to see that. So very, very smart. This will go to Cosman, to Karras. Edwards sends it deep. Ramirez does dig it. This will go outside to Seeley. Seeley with a holy cow,
wow.
the best hit of the night as she goes up and cranks the line as the Mustangs block was blocking cross court, and Seeley just turned her body enough to send that right down the line. So Fort Morgan now trailing 10-18 as Romero, the libero for the Riders, goes. Little serve off the net. Karras sets Edwards outside, and Edwards hits that one way long as it goes into the Roosevelt bleachers amongst all their fans who are here tonight. So Fort Morgan now trailing 19-10. Ramirez sends this one again over to Lepsock. Good pass to Karras. Karras will set Garver in the back set, dug out by the Riders. This will go outside to Seeley again. Little dink, and Lepsock gets it up, but Edwards could not turn quick enough to get that low pass up, and Fort Morgan now has given that all-important 20th point to the Riders. Ramirez sends this one deep. Cosman, Karras, outside to Edwards. Dug out by the Riders. This will go to the middle to Plackett, and I don't think it made it over. But they do call him for a lift, not 4 hits. And Fort Morgan does get the point and the ball. Chappell looking to come in. Cosman will go out, and Garver will do the serving. Lepsock, Frick, and Edwards in the front row. This goes over Seeley to Plackett. to Seeley. She just does a quick dink. And again, she uses that play when the libero's out, where she just dumps that in the center of the court, and Fort Morgan cannot get to that. So what a smart player.
She deserves every award she's won.
That's right. Hats off to her. She is smart enough to see that. Not many kids are smart enough to watch the other team's substitutions. So, and Cosman does come in, but Seeley serves this, and Fort Morgan is out of rotation. I think Edwards and Frick.
That new concept of who's where and where am I.
Yeah, that's exactly right. But, I just can't say enough about how smart Erin Seeley is as a player.
5 aces and 22 kills on a 3-game match.
Here comes the serve.
Again.
And Fort Morgan again is out of rotation.
Oh.
Come on, Coach.
We're just stacking up Seeley's aces over here.
Yeah, making her look good.
Things like that you got to figure out. This is a strong senior team, and Nicole Karras really needs to take charge right now and lead these Mustangs to at least get in the right position. This is not acceptable.
Yeah, I don't know who. I think it's still Karras, and Brianna Frick sends this one clear back against the backboard off the serve of Seeley, and now we're at set point, and maybe this will be a mercy killing here. It's like Fort Morgan totally confused. And at set point, Erin Seeley will send it over. This is short. Cosman to Karras.
Great dig by Cosman.
Yes, and this will go to Chappell, who just sends it over. Seeley sets outside. This time Fort Morgan does reset. This will go outside to Haley Lebsock. She does a dink. Seeley, Plackett, and the libero tries to get that over off a bad pass of Seeley. And Fort Morgan now will either win it or lose it with Brianna Frick serving, as it is 12-24. Frick sends this one in. The libero Ramirez. Seeley will set Plackett in the middle, number 6. And off the block of Whitney Edwards, Fort Morgan does lose this third set and goes down to defeat 12-25. We'll send it back to the station, where we'll come back with a recap of the night. You've been listening to Fort Morgan Volleyball on B106 and B106.com. On homecoming night in Fort Morgan, the Mustangs do go down to defeat to the Roosevelt Rough Riders in 3, 11-25, 18-25, and 12-25. Well, this will be the last broadcast for the Mustangs, Kristen, and for you and I for the year, as the Mustangs do lose in their final home match, and actually the final match of the year. Do you want to give us the stats?
Yeah, leading tonight actually was freshman Isabel Garver with 5 kills, 1 ace, and 1 block, followed by Haley Lebsock with 4 kills, Jalen Chappell with 3 kills and a block, 3 kills for Brianna Frick, and 2 kills for Whitney Edwards. Obviously, the Roosevelt side was an all Erin Seeley night with 22 kills, 7 aces, followed by Haley Plackey with 5 kills, Brianna Hankins with 4, Whitney Shaver with 3 kills, 1 ace, and then Hannah Eining and Kylie Plackey both with 1, and Kim Dillenhay with an ace as well. So obviously you can tell just from the stats how one-sided that is.
Yeah, and like I said, hats off to Erin Seeley. What a smart player.
A phenomenal athlete and a very smart player as well.
As she actually, you see very few high school players watching the other team's substitution and knowing when the libero is out and when certain players are in. So, yes, hats off to her. As I said in the past, tonight will be the last night that we'll see the 6 seniors, and I want to talk just a minute about them. I do have a few stats. As Cabry Stroh, the only senior not to have lettered in her 4 years, does leave with 8 kills, and these are just the statistics for this year, as I got these from head coach Tiffany Turner tonight, so that will not include this game, but it doesn't matter that much. I just want to talk about all these seniors a little bit. 2-year letterman, Whitney Edwards. She retires this year with 42 kills. 3-year letterman, Jalen Chappell. She will retire this year with 130 kills. And 3-year letterman, Haley Lebsock, will retire this year with 168 kills. And then 4-year letterman, Nicole Karras, who saw her career start as a freshman about halfway through the year when she got to come in and do some of the setting duties, and actually ran a 6-2 until her junior year, when Fort Morgan did decide to switch to the 5-1, and she became the sole setter. But she ends this year with 315 kills. And then
sets, you mean?
Or sets, I'm sorry. And then last but not least, Jamie Cosman, the libero for the Mustangs. And Jamie will go down in Fort Morgan history with a rare award, as she is the one of the few Mustangs to have played in every set of every match since her freshman year. So that's quite an accomplishment for Jamie, and you can probably speak to that, Kristen, as you were a four-year letterman. She has 450 digs this year alone, and how hard that is, not only injury, but sickness. We've had some ineligibility problems. Of course, speaking as her father, she better not have been ineligible. But, that is, in 4 years, that is quite an accomplishment for the libero for the Mustangs.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It's hard enough alone, those freshman and sophomore years to really get that varsity playing time, let alone such a key position as a libero. So for her to come in and really dominate that position for 4 years says a lot about her, both in the classroom and on the court. And like you said, never really letting anything get in front of her, with her grades or injury or illness. So
well, and like you said, injury. I mean, how many girls have we seen injured over the years? They miss one or two matches. But anyway, hats off to Jamie. She will retire as probably the all-time leader for the Mustangs in the digs. I don't have her statistics in her 4 years, but just from memory, it'll be well over 1,000 digs in her career, which is probably pretty good. And I want to congratulate the two Mustangs who we think will probably be traveling to colleges this year to play
play at that next level.
Yeah,
really.
Play at that next level. It'll be Karis and Cosman, the two girls who have been recruited by some of the schools back east. And actually, there's only one Mustang playing right now, and that is Weimer. Cammie Weimer is probably the only Mustang left out of all the years that's still playing in college. So we welcome these two girls who will be going on to college next fall and playing for their respective teams. And I just would like to thank Christy and Allie Creighton for giving me the opportunity the last 5 years to have a little fun at their expense on the radio and giving me the opportunity to be on. Chris, I'd like to thank you for sitting in with me this year after I lost my sidekick, Pat O'Rourke. And if he's listening, Pat, thanks for everything you did. And John Beltran, especially thanks to you for actually taking the time and training a dumb farmer on how to run this.
What's your final farmer term?
Well, I don't have a final farmer term, but I'm just going to say thanks to Christy and Rachel, our sound engineers tonight. And it's been a great time, everybody. I really appreciate the station giving us the opportunity to bring you Mustang volleyball, and hopefully we'll see you in the next years. You've been listening, or for Kristen Grinnan Miller, I'm Mike Cosman, and you've been listening to Mustang Volleyball on B106 and B106.com. Good night, everyone.